Good morning, everybody. This is Mike, KO4PDI. Mike Randazzo is my name. KO4PDI is my call sign. I'm known as Magical Mike because I used to be a professional magician for 15 years. The Icom 9700 is the radio I use to do most of my satellite contacts, whether it be linear like RS-44 or FM birds like ISS. I have 8 contacts with an astronaut on the International Space Station over the years. I didn't do it all in one day. It's been a lot of fun, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So I'm making these videos, this series of videos, which I promised, to give you a little look at the equipment I use and how I use it. So first thing we're going to look at is the Icom 9700, the IC 9700. This is the radio that I use. This is the Icom website. It's a high-speed, real-time spectrum scope with waterfall display and built-in 1200 megahertz. This supreme VHF-UHF transceiver provides a brand new experience. Well, I don't know about brand new because it's been around a while, but it does a lot. It does a lot of stuff. And we're going to take a look at these. Let's see if we can get a couple of views of the radio. There's the back of the radio. You can see there's 3 antenna inputs, one for each band that it's capable of handling. And there it is in the wild. I don't know if I'd be using it for portable. Well, maybe I would if I ever get a portable rotator. Oh, that's right. I'm building one right now, the PSR 100 I'm building. All right, so what does this radio do? Well, let's take a look at the actual radio. The last satellite I had loaded into it was RS-44. If I enable the radio, you will start seeing the frequencies flip back and forth to adjust for Doppler. What you're looking at is the screen of the IC 9700. If you look, you can see that on the top left you have the TX, and when you transmit, that turns red. When you transmit, the top VFO-A is the transmit. That's on 2 meter, and VFO-B, or the bottom VFO, still says VFO-A, is the receive. I use a preamp, but the internal preamp for birds like the ISS or something like that. But on the RS-44, I use the powered preamp, and the way you get to that is you hit the function button over here, and on page 2, this is the first page you'll come up with on the function button. On page 2, you turn it on by hitting that. Now, I only do that on RS-44 because you'll find preamps have a habit of just amplifying everything, including the noise, and you don't want that. So you only use it when you have to. And on RS-44, you have to because it's a very faint signal, but I do get it, and I make some really serious contacts on there. And what's nice about RS-44, you have 30,000 hertz of bandwidth that you could tune up and down and talk to somebody anywhere along that bandwidth spacing. So let's see, what else can I tell you? There is a SAT section. If I hit menu, you'll see here it has satellite. This point here does not have any satellites programmed in, but notice the transmit moved to the BVFO. I don't like that. With using the SAT program, sometimes the BVFO is the transmit, sometimes the AVFO is the transmit. It's confusing. It can mess you up. So that's why I like to use the SAT box, because the SAT box doesn't do any of that. So let me get out of that. How do I get out of that? Oh, all right, I'm out of it now. All right, so the SAT program, the funny thing is I was doing satellites with a Yaesu FT991A, and it was okay, but everything was manual. I had to program everything myself. This is better because the SAT box does all that for me, and it updates itself every day so the numbers are accurate, the frequencies are accurate, and the TLE data is accurate. The SAT program in the 9700, honestly, I've never used it. I bought the radio because of it, thinking I was going to use it, but then I found the SAT box and just totally forgot about using it. Some people use SAT PC32 with the 9700. I don't do that, so I'm not going to talk about that because I'm not knowledgeable on it. but the sat box itself controlling just about everything in the radio, from the Doppler effect to where the rotator is supposed to be pointed and all that stuff. It takes care of everything. It doesn't make sense to try to use something where I have to manually put in the frequencies and everything. So this is why I use the Icom 9700. It is the most used radio in my shack. If I'm not doing satellites, it's monitoring a local repeater, or I'm trying different repeaters around the state. But when it's working, man, this is really sweet. It gets on there, and for the satellites, it's incredible. The sat box is made to work with it, and it works great. So yeah, enough of that. That's it for the Icom 9700. Like I said, if you look at the back of it, let me show you that again. You have one antenna connection for each antenna. Just so you know, I have two Wemo box, what do they call them, X-Quads. There's the antennas. We have a pair of Wemo X-Quads on top of a 50-foot tower with a Yaesu 5500 rotator and two MFJ preamps on the mast. Each antenna has its own coax that comes straight back to the radio with nothing but a lightning arrestor in between. There's probably 150 feet of LMR 400 on each one. So that has a lot of loss in it. So people see me using 70 watts or 75 watts to do a satellite pass, realize that I'm losing about half of that on the weight of that antenna. So don't judge me for using too much power, because I'm not using too much power. I'm using necessary power. All right. So that is the antenna, and that's what it looks like. They're connected. Each one is connected to the back of the radio here and here. This is the 1200 megahertz connector. I don't use that. This is an N connector for the 70 centimeter and an SO239 for the 2-meter antenna. So that's how they're hooked up. They come all the way back to me through the preamps. The preamps are wired on the mast, and the best part is this radio puts out 10 volts to power those preamps. Isn't that nice? So let's go to the Icom page again, and we could read a few details. Yeah, let's read some of the features. Smooth FT8 operation. Mode operation. You know, I've never used the FT8 mode either. I've always just used WSJTX to control it. Actually, I use Ham Radio Deluxe to control it, but I might check into that using the FT8 mode. All mode transceiver, you get D-Star on here too. I actually have a hotspot hooked up to a D-Star room that is hooked up to a Wires X room that I can talk to those guys anytime I want. I'm going to jump on there in a little while. The Icom's digital expertise. This is a detailed explanation of where the signals are going within the radio. Real-time spectrum scope. Right here on the bottom of the screen, you got a nice spectrum scope. Intuitive touchscreen display. What I love about Icom as opposed to Yaesu is these buttons are clear, they're large, they're easy to see. You can see it when I show it to you on the radio. When I hit the menu here, look at how large these buttons are. There you go. And you have the set button on both pages. So if I go to page 2, still have the set button. This is mostly for D-Star. You can transmit images with this radio too. You can receive images. It has GPS. What else? Here's all the stuff. Here's the scope. I could turn it on and off, or you could just turn this middle button here. Oh, wait. What happened? Nothing's moving. Oh, I have it shut off in the sat box. Anyway, there you go. So that is the 9700. So if anybody's got any questions, you can email me at ko4pdi@1791.com. 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 You're more than welcome to ask me anything you want to ask me. You want more details on how to hook up the wires and stuff, I can talk to you about that. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, typical radio. That's it. And just remember the CIV port in the back, that's what goes to the SAT box to tell the SAT box where the radio is. All right, I'll leave you with that right now. And this KO4 PDI, look for me soon. I'll be talking about the SAT box. I'll do another video on that. KO4 PDI 73, everybody. Catch you later.